And welcome everybody to the Final Yard here on the 5 Reasons Sports Network. I'm your host, Louis Sung. My co-host, Ron Caniff, will be here shortly. There will be other panelists coming in as well, but we just wanted to make sure that we got ourselves started here because this is a game to be remembered for the rest of Dolphins history right here, ladies and gentlemen. They were a field goal away, and only good sportsmanship, I guess, from Mike McDaniel is what kept them from setting an NFL record for points scored in a single regular season game. So just when you thought this Dolphins offense could not get any more explosive, just when you thought they could not get any more dangerous, just when you thought they could not get any more amazing, this is what they do to the Denver Broncos. So I see already some folks here, so they put a huge target. Listen, man, listen. At some point, you have to say they've already put their backups in. They had already put the backups in. Mike White was there. Chris Brooks was there. Devon Achane was there. And then you had Robbie Chosen scoring touchdowns. Everybody's saying you don't rub it in. What more can you do? It would be even worse if you kneel the ball every time you got the ball back and then punted it away. That would be even more embarrassing. If you're going to go ahead and score, then score away, as far as I'm concerned. We're going to get into all that. We'll talk about the semantics of it all. We'll talk about all that. But before that, really quick, just want to go ahead and mention that, as always, this show is brought to you by our good friends over at PrizePicks.com. PrizePicks.com is a revolutionary fantasy platform where you can now pick up to 6 different players across professional sports leagues, whether that's the NFL, the NBA, the MLB, one of each. It's up to you to decide. Just choose whether your chosen player will get more or less than their projected stat. They give you free squares, special Taco Tuesday promos, Flex Friday specials where you can get your money back if you lose or multiply the amount of money you can normally win. So with offers like that, it's hard to justify not signing up if you are any kind of a fantasy sports fan. So use the promo code 5, that's F-I-V-E, and they will match up to $100 on your initial deposit when you sign up. Again, the promo code 5, F-I-V-E. Go to PrizePicks.com, deposit your $100, and let PrizePicks give you $100 of their dollars for you to play with and get started winning today. All right, so already the comments are coming in. So there are a lot of people who are very mixed on this. They said it that screw being class act, go for the history books. That's the way that I would have done something. That's the way that I would it. And Yanis, I love the optimism there. It won't be the last time that we score 70 points. Listen, this is what I'm saying right here. I remember, and I'm going to pull it up here just so everybody kind of has an understanding of where I'm coming from here, because it was not that long ago that I made a tweet basically suggesting that the Miami Dolphins, this is a team that you expect for them to play well. You expect for them to score a ton of points and absolutely beat down on a team that is considered inferior to you. And I had so many people, man. I had so many people telling me that, oh, you shouldn't do that. Oh, don't get your hopes up. And I'm going to go ahead and introduce Ron Caniff to the show. Hello, sir. I'm going to go ahead and let you talk in just a moment. But first, I wanted to make sure I got my point across. I said that I wanted to go ahead and give my monologue on this. This is the tweet that I'm about to pull up. This was a tweet that I sent out a few days ago, and I had so many people, Ron. I had so many people telling me that, oh, wrong. It's going to be close. This is terrible. What do you mean? This is not a given. This is such a trap game. Stop. This is a terrible thing. You're so wrong. How dare you get your hopes up like that? The list of responses, Ron, they went so long, 69 replies, almost all of them telling me that I should not get my hopes up, that I should not be saying things like this. How dare you get your hopes up? Because this is not what the Dolphins are. If you are a team that is aiming to compete for a Super Bowl, this is the kind of offense, this is the type of game you expect to have against teams that are not as good as you. And this is exactly what the Miami Dolphins did today. 70 points against Vance Joseph and the Denver Broncos. And this is against the head coach and Sean Payton, who said that Teddy Bridgewater was going to beat Tua, and last season he was going to get Tua benched. And now he's right, Tua did get benched, but only because he scored so many points that couldn't justify keeping him in the game at this point. So the only thing that took the air out of my balloon was that Mike McDaniel decided to be a nice guy and didn't kick the field goal to beat the NFL record. That's the only thing about it that really messed me up. That was the only thing I was upset about. But there is not a single thing about this game that I can be perfectly honest and say, oh, yeah, I'm going to criticize it. I can't criticize anything. The only reason the Broncos even got to 20 points was because of a kick return touchdown. Vic Fangio's defense was on point. Tua was almost perfect. I don't know how he didn't get a perfect passer rating. One too many incomplete passes, I guess.
I think but it could be just volume of attempts. It also might be he needed one more touchdown. Maybe. I don't know. He had 4, though, didn't he?
No, yeah, I don't know. I think he might have had
I
4
think he
at
had
that point.
4. Yeah.
I need to double check. I need to double check here. Yes, 4 touchdown passes, 309 yards. I'm pulling up the numbers now.
Pulling
It
up box
the
score. Okay, cool.
it is 23 for 26, 309 yards, 4 touchdowns. And as far as who was the leading receiver, no question. Tyreek Hill, 9 receptions, 157 yards, 1 touchdown. Devon Achane, 4 catches, 30 yards, 2 touchdowns. Raheem Mostert, 7 catches, 60 yards, 1 touchdown. And of course, Chosen Anderson, which was the one that put it over the top, 1 catch for 68 yards and a touchdown. And by the way, Chosen Anderson coming out of nowhere, out of left field, because Jalen Waddle wasn't ready to go. And even he's scoring points with Mike White throwing him the football. People talking about don't embarrass the Broncos. The Broncos embarrass themselves, man. If even our second and third stringers are scoring points on you, there's nothing we can do except literally kneel the ball every time we get it back and then punt it back to you. At that point, that's more embarrassing than actually trying to do something against you. So go ahead, Ron. I had my thing.
Man, it was a revenge game. I know I talked about it with Tua, and then people pointed out other people. I was just thinking about Tua for all week, talking about how Sean Payton talked all that crap. He spent his short career as a broadcaster mostly trashing Tua until at the very end he decided to, I don't know, change his mind, go the other way. Maybe it's because he thought he was getting the Denver game and knew we were playing him. I don't know. It was so nice to see Tua quiet him and just get some revenge. But I just think that we're going to step back for a bit and realize, man, I was just looking at 376 passing yards and 350 rushing yards. Like, how many teams have ever done that? I'm pretty sure we had 200-yard rushers, and man, even Brooks got like 60 yards. I mean, it was just the balance of run and pass. And to be that effective in it and score 10 touchdowns. I mean, if Denver kept scoring, we'd have to kept scoring, But I think, and you mentioned that it disappointed you that McDaniel was a nice guy. I think that was absolutely the best decision. As much I think he would have preferred, and he was hoping for Chris Brooks to slip one. It's not that he didn't want to score, and break the record, but I think he was hoping to do it the more humane way, right? And that's let Chris Brooks slip one into the end zone.
So you basically said let the Broncos destroy themselves instead of we
exactly,
destroy the Broncos.
And then break the record like that, and it didn't happen. I think he made the right decision not to go for the record. I think I like that karma. I think that's better karma. We don't need any karma stuff coming down on this team. Like let's just that's whether we broke the record at 73 or 70 has nothing to do with our ultimate goal of winning a Super Bowl. Nothing to do with it.
Okay, but like this situation, that record was set in 1966. No one else has ever gotten that close since today. At that point, Ron, it
won't be our last opportunity.
At that point, Ron, they already embarrassed themselves to the point where it's like, listen, if we kick the field goal or not, they're not going to feel any better about themselves. I'm sure that if it were Sean Payton, he would look at this and say, you know what? I have an opportunity here for my team to set an NFL record. Let me just go ahead and do it. I can't make them feel any worse about themselves than they already do. So if I was the way that I'm looking at it, it's like when you have that kind of an opportunity, you have to take it, because as much as we want to say, oh, the Dolphins will score that many points again, don't worry. We don't know that, man. So many things had to go right. Yeah. So many things had to go right for the Dolphins for that to happen.
I'm just having fun with it. I don't know that they'll actually, ever get to 70 again. What only 2 teams ever have, right? Or is it?
This is like the Dolphins are the 3rd team ever
to reach that number. Okay. Yeah. I mean, what can you say, man? This is what we didn't even dream about this. This is what beyond what dreams are made of, as they say. But this is what we'd hoped we'd see eventually from McDaniel in this offense and these weapons. Like he was just using. He didn't even have Waddle today. He was just using them all, man. That guy is absolutely right now the number 1 play caller in this league. I think Tua right now is playing the best quarterback in this league. And I think we have the number 1 weapon in Hill in this league. And I think with everything else going the way it's going, like, man, we could only stop ourselves or, of course, injuries. But I don't know who's going to really stop us as we get this thing going. I mean, it's only week 3. We're just getting into a groove here. So it's going to be one heck of a game next week because the Bills put a whooping on the Commanders too. So
but
it's going to be one heck of a game next week. It's a big boy game right there.
No doubt. This is next week is going to be a very huge litmus test for what the Dolphins can accomplish. If the Dolphins can score like this against the Buffalo Bills in Buffalo, then at that point you might as well send the Dolphins to the Super Bowl at that point. There's no one who can stop them. If not even Kansas City. People want to keep talking about, Kansas City's in a league of their own. Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback to ever touch the football
field. I think the Dolphins offense right now might be in a league of their own.
The Miami Dolphins are, after a performance like this, man, you have to at least put them. You have to at least have them that way. Like you can't put the Chiefs in a league of their own anymore when even the Chiefs have not managed to accomplish this. Bad defense notwithstanding. Okay, even Patrick Mahomes has not been able to accomplish what the Dolphins did today.
Yeah, no doubt.
And a lot of those points were still with the backups. With Devon A-Chain getting handoffs from Mike White. It was him,
the bomb to Chosen,
to Robbie Chosen, all the way out there.
That was when I thought maybe, because the A-Chain, when you're breaking a run because you're running the ball at the end, you break a run. That's nobody's fault. I was actually surprised that he had Mike White take the shot. I mean, I know it was still about a quarter left in the game. Was it when it to get to? I think it was to get to 63. Was that the one that got us to 63, right? The Chosen touchdown?
I was actually kind of one. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I was actually kind of surprised that we even went for that. So I thought people would start to talk then that Miami was trying to run up the score. I got to be honest with you. I think Miami kind of was trying to run up the score, but not to the point of I'm going to break this record right here in his face kind of thing. So it was interesting. And there was a lot of people on this team that had points to prove, mostly coaching, mostly Tua and Fangio and Butch Berry. Like his team, his offensive line was just helped Miami run for 350 yards on the Denver Broncos. Like, that feels good, man. That feels good. Absolutely.
I will say this. Part of me feels bad for Sofia Ramirez, who was the one who went on with me for behind enemy lines for the Denver Broncos. She expected the Broncos to lose, but I don't think even she was expecting to get demolished like this.
Yeah. Well, no one expects to go into a game and think we're going to lose by 50. You know what I mean? Like
some cynical individuals might.
Yeah. We're going to lose this game by 50. Even if you're, I don't know, the Bears and you're going to play at Kansas City. I don't know if you think you're going to lose by 50. Like that's one for them. I know how it feels for fans, man. Like for us that remember the good old days, right? Or the bad old days, that 62-7 loss we took in the playoffs to the Jags, man, I still feel pain from that loss. Mm-hmm. And because of how it had bigger things because it was a playoff game and it was Marino's last game as well and whatnot. But just getting annihilated like that by such a large margin, man, I remember how that felt. I really do. So I feel a little bit for those fans. I do, but I don't feel for Sean Payton. I hope he feels all the embarrassment he should and about how wrong he was about Tua, man. And this is now twice we've seen Tua, and this is another exciting thing, right? So let's think about this. We saw Tua in the last few years be bad in prime time. We saw Tua not be great when maybe there was a bit of an axe to grind or he really wanted for his own coach, I think, to stick it to San Fran last year. And we saw how he was pressing and not playing like we saw him play the previous part of the season. We've now seen Tua in 2 weeks, prime time, right? Sunday night. Play well, right? Did what he needed to do for sure. Absolutely didn't play bad, that's for sure. And then with a point to prove, maybe a bit of an axe to grind, that he just puts on a clinic, man. That's an exciting turn where Tua's taking this emotion now and not letting it overwhelm him, but it's driving him. And I think Tua's becoming a dangerous quarterback, like a dangerous quarterback in this league. He might be, and I understand that right now he's at the top of the MVP conversation. I agree with that. Right now, Tua is the leader of the MVP race. But when we go to overall best quarterback, it's still Mahomes. But Tua is starting to put himself in that second spot, even over Joe Burrow. even over Allen and some of these guys that people put up there. He really is starting to solidify himself as the second best quarterback behind Mahomes. That's good company.
I mean, yeah. The thing is, though, is that I don't know what Tua would need to do to actually put himself over the top over Patrick Mahomes. Everybody's going to point to Patrick Mahomes and look at his athleticism, his ability to run the ball as well as throw the ball, the fact that he can make acrobatic throws like he can. Tua can't do all those things. He's not that kind of an athlete.
No, he's not. He's not.
At some point, you have to look at their production and say, hold on a second. This guy's doing things that even Mahomes didn't do when he had Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, no doubt. And McDaniel's doing things with a lot of talent that other coaches have never done before that have had a lot of talent. No doubt. But with Tua, for Tua to like surpass Mahomes, Mahomes has done more than just look amazing and had a few good seasons. He's gone to 3 Super Bowls out of 4 seasons if you don't count his rookie season, right? He's won a couple MVPs. He's been amazing, man. I think he's been an AFC Championship game every damn year. Like that's how you surpass Mahomes. Honestly, that's what you have to do. It's not going to happen with one amazing season.
It's definitely not going to happen all at once, but
exactly. But he's quickly surpassing all the other quarterbacks in my mind, besides Mahomes.
And speaking of things that have gotten better, we were so worried about the Dolphins defense. Like I get it, Justin Herbert, but even then it wasn't Herbert that beat us. It was mostly Austin Eckler and Josh Kelly.
Yeah,
that ended up doing all that damage.
But it was clearly a game plan thing because since then no one's really run on us.
No, they definitely have not. And Javonte Williams, I'll give him this. He did as much as he possibly could. 11 carries, 42 yards. But even then, it was like, I still remember that one play. He ran right through David Long and Jerome Baker at once. So it wasn't for a lack of trying on the Broncos, but they just could not do anything. 23 completions, 38 attempts for 306 yards for Russell Wilson, which, again, we gave him all those yards near the end when it was just like our backups in there, like Elijah Campbell, I can't even remember the other guy's name, Perryman or whatever. And yes, I'm counting I can't even remember the guy's name. And yes,
Mac, I hope he doesn't mean Mac for a better future. I hope he's not meaning Mac Jones for a better future. I don't think that's how you get a better future, except better future for the rest of the AFC East.
Yeah, it's what's the guy's name? I'm trying to find it here. I can't. He's not even on the box score, but he did something. He actually got penalized. But either way, by the way, Andrew Van Ginkel once again causing a ton of pressure. He only got he only got 2 tackles technically, but he was all over the place. You could tell that he was doing things.
Absolutely.
Bradley Chubb was getting in on that. Jalen Phillips went out with an oblique strain, but honestly, we didn't even miss him that much. Christian Wilkins kind of left the game briefly, moonwalking into the locker room.
I don't know what that was about.
I think he just had to
break.
Honestly, I think he just had to pee. Like if he was actually hurt, he wouldn't be moonwalking into the tunnel. That's
exactly.
Yeah, I think he was just he was just in a good mood. He had to go pee, and McDaniel was like, okay, yeah, go ahead. We don't need you right now. It's fine.
We're good.
No worries.
Yeah, man. How good does it have to feel for this team right now, for McDaniel, for Tua? Imagine being Tua and what you were going through 2 years ago at this point. You suck. You're terrible. You can't throw the deep ball. You're one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL. Chris Sims got you on the list as the 40th best quarterback in the NFL. And just everyone's hating on you. A lot of your fans are hating on you. And your own coach is hating on you. And if you want to hear some of the stuff that was really said to Tua from that coach, go join OnlyFans for $3 a month and you can hear some stuff. It was ridiculous. And they were trying to trade for Watson or looking into trade for Watson. And that's all this 2 years ago. This guy was going through this. And as Dolphins fans, we were going through this turmoil. Like, we don't know. I mean, like Tua, but is he the one? And we don't have weapons. And
there were so many.
We're trying to throw to the Patriots weapons, Parker and Gesicki, and it just wasn't working out, man.
There were so many
2 years
people.
later. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I still remember so many people talking about you have the opportunity to go get Deshaun Watson, who's an all-pro caliber quarterback. You absolutely have to do it. I still remember being on the now defunct Onside Radio with Kai Chen Chisholm and Jakari Givens, who called in and said that it's like the girl walking down the street when you're with your girlfriend and you just notice that she's hotter than your girl. I'm like, you're out of your mind. First of all, for making the analogy. Second of all, for saying, like, you're acting like Deshaun Watson is so incredible that you're just giving up. You gave up on Tua already. You gave up on so many people. They gave up. They just gave up on him for no reason other than that he wasn't throwing like Patrick Mahomes. Like, that's the standard that people had for him. And now he's performing like Patrick Mahomes. I don't see anybody except for like Skip Bayless, maybe. Like, he might be the only one left that's holding on for dear life.
Oh no, he's already let it go. He's already
he hasn't. He's still talking
really?
about his guy he's still talking about his guy from the Sooners or whatever, who's also from Hawaii, who's also a left-hander, but he throws harder than Tua, and he's from Hawaii, and he's like, oh my God.
I don't even know who he's talking
every
about.
single day, every week, he's still talking about Tua as a soft armor. He throws he throws balloons out there into the field. I'm like, even like no, I think
but you know what? Somebody was talking about today, Phil Simms, who's way smarter than his son, by the way, when it comes to football opinions. But I guess Chris didn't get that gene. Was saying that who Tua, and this was like, was it halftime? I couldn't remember halftime. No, it was before the game. He was saying that he felt Tua's closest comparison, and when he sees Tua, it reminds him of Joe Montana. I never really thought about that, but some of the points he made were interesting there. I always thought about a little bit more of Drew Brees as a direct comparison. But I mean, man, like what can you say? This feels a lot like, and it wasn't the same. It wasn't a comeback. This feels like was it week 2 or week 3? It was week 3, right? When we came back against the Ravens.
I believe it was week 3.
Week 3 last year. This feels like that, but it's obviously different because it wasn't a comeback. It was just a shellacking. I mean, it would have been a shellacking at 49-13. Like, that's a complete beatdown. And I love how we scored quarter by quarter, 2 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns, 2 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns, 35 points in the first half, 35 points in the second half, pass for 367 yards, run for 350 yards, pass for 5 touchdowns, run for 5 touchdowns. Like, it was like the ultimate clinic of offensive balance in like the history of the NFL. Like, you want to be a balanced team and be just sick as shit, do what the Dolphins just did, 20 minutes ago. That's how you do it right there, man. There may be no other game ever like it for anybody as long as we live.
As long as we live, yeah. I mean, again, the last time anybody got this close, the last time somebody got this close, 1966 was when that record was set, and the Dolphins were literally a voluntary field goal away from
Broncos fan coming in. Broncos need to trade their entire defense before this trade deadline. This hurts. Mr. Elway 41177. I was speaking a little bit. I don't know if you were here the whole time or just popped in, about when the Dolphins got beat down 62-7 against Jacksonville in the playoffs in 98 or 99. So I know how you, man. We feel you. It sucks. I get it. It sucks for sure. Like I love this win, but I do feel bad for Broncos fans. This is a tough one to swallow for sure. And you're 0-3 on top of it. Yeah, sorry. Sorry to rub it in. I wasn't trying to be mean. I'm just saying I get how you feel.
I mean, I understand from a Broncos perspective. They're like, okay, please, thank you for not making us the team that gave up the new record for points. But I'm like, from a fan perspective,
to gain.
Even
the
Dolphins
to gain.
I wouldn't say there was nothing to gain, Ron. The NFL record was there to gain.
I would have rather had the yardage record, honestly. I was kind of hoping we'd break the yardage record more than anything. But no, I'm not upset about that at all, actually. I think it was right. As I was listening to Trent Green make a case for doing it, which, I mean, he was Mr. Denver, like at least the first like quarter and a half till the game was just over, right? He was all about Denver this and Denver that. But I heard Trent Green making a case of, yeah, you don't ever want to embarrass a team, but how often do you get a chance to break a historic record like that? But then said, McDaniel made the right decision. He did. I agree that he did. I'd be interested to see. I'm sure some people with way more followers than I will do some polling on that with Dolphins fans. I will be curious to see where Dolphins Nation, Fins Nation, right, falls on that one. I think it might be close to 50-50, honestly. I think half of us are like, no, it was the right thing, and half of them are going to be like Lewis. Like, people that were texting me, it was like half and half. We should have done it. We should have stomped on their throat. And others were like, man, that was the right thing.
I mean, listen, look, let me put it this way, Ron. If the score was like 60-20 and we were still going to be like 3 touchdowns away from getting the job done,
yeah,
then I would have said, never mind. It's not worth it. We'll go ahead and we'll.
That was Trent Green's point, by the way. That was Trent Green's point of why he thought that Miami might do it, and he would get why they would do it, was what you're saying. Like, if you're just having a huge day, like you're about to score 60, okay, that's not record breaking, and you've won the game. But to break the NFL all-time record, maybe in that case you'd go for it. But I'm still glad he didn't.
Well, a lot of people are there still saying that there's a lot of people like here's one. Why the hell did we kneel it? It's like, yeah, I get it. I'm with you on it, man. Like, I wish that they would have gone for it, because again, it's not like it was not like it was just scoring for the sake of scoring. There was a very specific reason for why you would have done it. It's to be able to say that we managed to pull off what hasn't been done since 1966. That is something that I would have gone for, but we took the high road. A lot of players were saying they took the high road and it was the right thing to do, et cetera, et cetera. But it's very weird to me that even the players would be saying like that. It's almost like, because it's not like we didn't see them cheering and crossing their fingers and hoping, oh my God, we're going to do it. We're going to do it.
We would, yeah, I'm sure. Some of them might not have really known where it was.
No, they knew. Oh, I guarantee you they knew.
I'm sure
that there were graphics up on the big screens that were saying Dolphins 3 points away. That's why everybody in the crowd was chanting 3 more points, 3 more points. Everybody knew that was what was about to happen. And though I'm sure that the players were looking at it like, oh my God, are we actually going to do this? So I think what probably happened was McDaniel got into the tunnel with everybody and said, listen, guys, we're just going to go ahead and say, this is the right thing to do. We're going to take the high road. Don't talk about how we wish we would have gone for it or anything like that. So now all the players are coming out and saying, yeah, it was the right thing to do. But I'm sure in their heads they were like, man, I wish we could have gone for it.
I think McDaniel too. I'm telling you, McDaniel would have loved for Brooks to have broken one and gotten the yardage record and the point record. I promise you. But as much as you want it, you don't need it. You don't have to have it. The question was, like, it was kind of like, though, some teams will just go ahead and go for it. Perfect example, the 2007 season Patriots. They were first of all, they were pissy and running up the score, right? They were running up the score on teams because they were pissy. I think if I recall, about Spygate. So they were definitely running up the score on teams as much as they can. It'd be like 4 minutes left, fourth quarter. They're up like 38-7 on Buffalo, and they're throwing it 4th and 14 into the end zone. From the, you know what I mean? From their own 14. So at 4th and goal, like they were doing that kind of stuff. And they went for the undefeated season, right? When they were 15-0, they could have easily sat everybody and gone for, and just said, you know what? If we lose, we lose. We're here to win a Super Bowl, not be set, not be undefeated. And they went for it. So if Miami had done that, like it would have been a whole lot of, I'm sure, people talking crap about how that wasn't right, with no one bringing up what the Patriots did in 2007. Because, I'm sure, but
because it's Tom Brady.
Considering the hatred that this team gets from national media too, and how I know McDaniel likes to get into the psyche of players, and he understands that, he was probably best to avoid all that and avoid that distraction. Because then it's about every time for the next week, instead of being about the game they just had or the next game, all the media conversation is going to be about him going for the record and blah, blah, blah. Like that, it would be a complete distraction. So he made the right decision in my mind.
Yeah. So, although Eduardo does have a good question, how would y'all feel if Sanders missed it? Then I would.
I was fully expecting him to miss it because, he kind of gets the ire of Dolphins fans as it is him, Austin Jackson.
Yeah, he would probably feel the pressure of the fact that this is the field goal that's going to set the NFL record, and he just shank it to the left because he can't handle it.
Let's talk about something. Let's talk about a couple of things. I haven't been on this show or Pulse in a couple weeks, right? So I do want to point out, and even though we're going back a little bit, this is just for me right here. I called the game 24-17 with the Patriots, if you remember, so I nailed that score. I did not nail this score. I was 31-21. Of course, I wasn't on the show.
Nobody's nailed this
nobody.
score.
I don't think anybody had 70-20 on their bingo card, right? But before the season started, even in May, I said something specific about a certain running back and how you got to watch for that guy. I promise you, he's got acceleration like you've never seen. He hits the hole faster than any running back you've ever seen. And I know that's an exaggeration. I get that. And also that he can run between the tackles, and that by week 4 or 5, they were not going to be able to keep this guy off the field no matter who was doing what. Devon A-Chain, baby. Devon A-Chain. Just want to say, looking pretty good right now, bro. Now, I know the whole team was looking good, but looking pretty good. Hey, Duke, what's up, man? Thanks for joining us.
What's up, guys?
That's up, he says.
Sup? Anything new lately? I don't know if you've seen any
How's
football
life,
scores.
Duke? How you doing? How was your Sunday?
Yeah, have you caught any football scores, man?
Yeah, well, I know on the Pulse that I predicted a 33-20 win, and Alf predicted a 40-20 win, and we almost combined made that. So that was ridiculous. Craziest thing I've ever seen, and I've seen some crazy games. There was a stat that I looked up. I don't have the numbers right in front of me, but I think it was the 2017 season, the season that never happened. The Dolphins scored 276 or 281 or something like that points total for the season. We're 3 games in, and the Dolphins have scored 130.
That's crazy.
Just unreal stuff going on here. It's absolutely unbelievable. Just that kind of game. And man, I really wanted Chris Brooks to break a touchdown run.
I know, right? He was so close too. I was screaming. I'm like, oh my God, he's actually going to do it. Then he got stopped at the last second. I was so upset. Dave,
I think he was running out of steam a little bit, but
I mean, he's not a fast guy. Chris Brooks's MO is that he's going to run over you, not run.
Yeah. He's not a speedster. That was a cool run. That 52-yard run he had was good.
No, because once again, it just goes to show this is why I don't break the bank for Jonathan Taylor. You don't need him.
I agree now. Yeah, I agree. You're right.
Yeah, and actually, I thought about that during this game after all that stuff was going on. My first thought was, I wonder how this offense would look with Jonathan Taylor. But that was mainly just because I knew what you'd be thinking about it. So
I like Elway. He's probably gone now, but good luck the rest of the season, guys. I'm going to go back in my backyard and stick my head in the sand. I love it when we do these shows and fans from other team pop in. They don't normally pop in afterwards.
They do if we lose.
But yeah,
if we
lose,
the 49ers fans were absolutely roasting me all game long.
We'll see them on Pulse sometimes. We'll see fans from the other team that we're playing that week pop in, and it's never gone badly. Like, we've never had anybody go nuts. Usually people are pretty cool. So yeah, I wish I could find. I would love to find somebody. I need to find some of these shows or other teams and get in there and start being a dick to people. Where's the Bills podcast?
No.
Where's the Bills people that said that he said last year there was a Bills podcast, that's on YouTube that said Mike McDaniel has no idea what he's doing. He has no idea what he's talking about. I've been around football a long time. You can tell a faker that doesn't really know what he's talking about when you see it. All this crap. And then the other guy's like, yeah, when does Mike McDaniel's shtick run out, man? When do the NFL start getting tired of his shtick? I'm like,
never.
Screw those guys, man. So I'd love to go in and harass some Bills fans.
Hey guys,
I'm down for harassing Bills fans at all times.
Speaking of Mike McDaniel, I've got some breaking news. The Dolphins just scored another touchdown.
All right.
That's the record.
Yeah. So they'll get tired of Mike McDaniel when they stop scoring points.
Yeah. There are some people out there who will still say that they're tired of Mike McDaniel. I'm sure Stephen A. Smith is going to hang on to his whole he didn't protect Tua and blah blah blah. He's been hanging on to that for a while.
The outside people don't matter. It's that who's in the locker room that matters. And right now, they don't care. They're absolutely loving it. I mean,
very Miami Heat approach.
I think Mostert had 3 rushing touchdowns all of last season. He's double that in week 3. I don't know what his total rushing yards is for the season. I didn't look up those numbers, but
I'll look it up while you're talking.
Yeah, I think it's like 200 and some 30 something carries, maybe 40 carries. I don't know. But anyway, 6 rushing touchdowns. And he had 3 all of last season. So yeah, that's
28 for 158 yards. No, that's not right.
That's not counting today's totals.
Yeah, that's not. Yeah, it is. He had 82 yards today. I thought he had over 100. I wonder if this is.
I think he
shows the 3 touchdowns though.
Yeah, I think he did have.
Yeah. 13 for 82 yards. So for the season, he's got 28 attempts, 158 yards, 5.6 yards per carry, 3 rushing touchdowns, 3 receiving touchdowns. Pretty impressive.
He's been unstoppable.
Yeah, he's been unreal, man. And now we got A-Chain doing it too, man.
Yeah.
Nuts.
So, and what I liked about A-Chain was he was running tough between the tackles and breaking tackles. like we knew the speed was there, and we saw that on the one play where he broke out, and I think it was Robbie Chosen that kind of sort of maybe stood there and didn't get the block. I don't know, but he had that big play in the first quarter. And then he, scored on a rush later. But, we knew he had that breakaway speed, but it's the fact he's getting in there. He gets hit like 2 yards after the line of scrimmage, and he powers through for a 5-yard gain. I mean, that wasn't what you expect from a guy that, is a $190, coming in. That was his concern, was he's a smallish guy and he's running hard. So, if he runs with that kind of toughness all season, plus that speed. Oh, and we did all this without Jalen Waddle. So
Devon Achane, 18. Oh, holy crap. Devon Achane, 18 carries for 203 yards. He broke the 200-yard number.
Yeah.
Holy crap. Probably half the people in fantasy had him on the bench.
I benched Raheem Mostert.
He averaged 11.3 yards per carry.
He's the first 200-yard rusher since
Jay Ajayi.
Yeah, Jay Ajayi. Yep. That's right. The J train, man. I mean, and quietly, guys, Tyreek Hill, 9 receptions, 157 yards, and a touchdown.
Quietly, he says.
Yeah, and it seems like, well, what I'm saying is, we've been so impressed with all the running back numbers, but we sit there and we look at that, and there you go. The second receiving yardage wise was actually Anderson with his 68-yard touchdown. Crazy.
From Mike White, not even Tua.
Yep. Crazy. And then Devon Achane, 4 receptions, 30 yards, and 2 receiving touchdowns. Oh, Devon Achane had 4 touchdowns.
Yeah.
203 yards and 4 touchdowns? Holy crap. That's got to be like he's like the fantasy guy of the week. Maybe he gets the offensive player of the week.
He should.
Crap.
It gets it's becoming increasingly hard for me to just not have all Dolphins on my fantasy team, because every single player at any given moment could absolutely explode for yards. And I benched Raheem Mostert thinking, oh, they're not going to do it again. They'll go right back to Tua and Tyreek. Nope, they went to Mostert. And then Devon Achane does what he's doing, and Tua and Tyreek went for 20 points each on my fantasy team too. If I had just had all 4 Dolphins on my team at today, I would have instantly won my fantasy matchup for this week. And all Dolphins. Can you imagine?
Well, the thing about this game, and it's going to be an anomaly because nobody's doing this week in and week out, but the Dolphins have shown in 3 consecutive weeks that it's not just the passing offense and Tyreek Hill, even though they did well today. It's not just the running game like it was against New England, which did well today. It is a pick your poison, and they're going to scheme up against anyone and everyone. So whatever Buffalo comes out with next week, Miami's going to have a counterpunch to it. And so I think that's probably one of the few things that we didn't see last year was that counterpunch. And now we've got this rushing attack. The offensive line played very well today. I mean, I know Denver didn't really have the best pass rush, but very, very few pressures. I think the ones that I do remember seeing were like guys running free, free edge rusher that they're trying to, it's like a schemed up that way. Just an offensive line that's competent. We're running the ball. We're passing the ball. I don't even know what I'm watching, man. Is this?
Yeah.
Well, we're in the air. We're on the ground. We were always in control.
Yeah. I see this here. That South Florida humidity completely gassed Denver. I noticed that toward about halfway through the second quarter. I was watching Denver, and those guys were sweating, hands on hips, breathing hard already, man. And McDaniel and the Dolphins kind of knew, okay, we got him where we want him now. We're going to step on their throat. And they just continue to do so the entire game. There was another comment in here. McDaniel said, okay, you don't want us throwing to our receivers, throw to our running backs. Yeah, you think about the first game, we were throwing it to the receivers. It was Tyreek, Waddle, mostly Tyreek, all day, right? And then all of a sudden the next game, we're rushing the ball, but we're still throwing to our receivers, but not as much. And we got the tight end involved. I think Smythe only caught 1 pass early in the game in this one, and then I don't think we saw him again. It was a nice catch, though. And now all of a sudden we're not just running the ball. Now we're throwing to the backs. So especially once you get Waddle back in this game, back going, which I'm pretty sure I would guess he'll play next week. We'll see.
100%. Oh, 100%.
Yeah, he's going to play next week.
They kept him out because they don't want the NFL being like, are you letting him back in?
100%. Yeah, and that's why we called it early, too. We called it a day before, so we weren't playing around. But, if you're a defense, man, the Dolphins have really kind of done things on offense in almost 3 different ways now, like in 3 games. You're right about pick your poison, Duke. I mean, I don't know how you scheme up a defense for this team against this offense.
It's definitely fun to watch. And guys, I've got to go. I've got somewhere I got to be, so I just want to check in. So, hey, great win, historic win, good numbers. I'm excited to see you guys on Tuesday.
All right, see you Tuesday.
Thank you, Duke. Much appreciated. All right, so I mean, let's send back. We're looking forward to the Bills, the first test of the season. I mean, the Chargers.
I thought the Chargers were the first test of the season. Honestly,
I mean, at some point we have to stop looking at these. Like I appreciate that we kept raising the bar, but it almost feels like we're trying to raise the bar for like, where's the letdown going to happen? Where do we come back to earth? I don't want to think like that. This is exactly what I was talking about when I made my tweet earlier in the week, and everybody was roasting me for it. It's like, if you want to compete for a Super Bowl, at some point, you've got to raise your expectations for what this team is going to accomplish. You cannot both compete for a Super Bowl and then continue to have a mindset that you're just down in the mire with the rest of the bottom feeders of the NFL. You are, at this point, you have to face facts. The Miami Dolphins are an elite offense. They are possibly the best offense in football. Statistically speaking, they are the best offense in football.
I truly think, not just statistically, I believe they are the best offense in football.
And so at that
solidified that.
Right. And so at that point, you have to look at this and say, we have to stop acting like, oh, the Buffalo Bills are a huge threat to our season. Oh, the Kansas City Chiefs even are a huge threat.
Ravens just lost to the Colts.
The Ravens are a huge threat to our nobody.
Jags lost to the Texans by 20. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, the threat is the Chiefs. Maybe the Bills. We're going to see. They've looked really good the last 2 weeks. They didn't look great against the Jets.
Can you define what you mean by threat, please, Ron?
Meaning, we're not going to, it doesn't necessarily mean that like we're just going to walk through all these teams like we walk through Denver, or you know what I mean? Like it's going to be like the threats, but as in like they could definitely beat us. Like you're not going to be like, oh my God, I can't believe we lost to Kansas City. Okay, like it's not going to be like that. And by the way, hilariously, remember I was talking about no team expects to lose by 50. And I said, I don't know if like the Chiefs had to go play in Kansas City. I had no clue that the Chiefs are actually playing the Bears in Kansas City. And they're slaughtering them already 14-0.
Okay, well, I mean, it's the Bears and it's the Chiefs, so I'm not.
You know what? Denver's not the most untalented team. Like,
no, they're not. That's
like
just
we haven't played I have to be honest, we haven't really played a bad team yet. Now, Denver's playing bad. Denver's playing bad, but I would say talent-wise, they're not a bad team. Patriots have a really, really good, tough defense. Bottom line, they have a really good defense and one of the best defensive coaches in NFL history. So, we get that there. Chargers have a ton of talent. Like, we haven't really played a team that's like lack of talent. Like there's some teams out there like the Titans and things like that. Like, bruh, like we're just going to run through those teams. Like the only reason we don't really is because we're just kind of playing a little bit more vanilla because we know we can take them. Like there's going to be some games where we're just, it looks like last year when we played Houston. There's going to be times like that. But there's other games where it's going to be tougher. We play a lot of very talented teams. We still play Philly and the Chiefs and Dallas and the Bills twice. We still got to face the Jets defense twice. There's some tough games out there and then some not so tough.
Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, this is a game that everybody should remember. Mike McDaniel did talk about, by the way, going for the record. He said, just paraphrasing, the message that it was sent is not really what I'm about. Okay, so I guess the message that he's sending is that he's not a jerk, which I get it.
Yeah,
Mike
exactly.
He doesn't pass off that kind of a. Bill Belichick obviously would have gone for it.
It's bulletin board material when you do something like that. Like you're putting yourself when you go purposely to try and do that. Every single team that's going to play you, like it's just like that little extra kind of, little twist in their brain that they remember that you guys purposely tried to run up the score and blah, 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 this, that, and the other. You ain't going to do that to us. And then they even maybe start taking a few dirty shots and let's see if we can get our hands on Tua a little bit. Did Tua not get sacked again today?
He did not get sacked all game. No.
Yeah, so he's been sacked once this year. Again, one time against the Patriots.
One sack in 3 games, and this is the first time Teron Armstead has played all season. By the way, Teron Armstead, even as much as we loved Kendall Lamb,
Yeah, it's better.
There was a huge
difference. But it's exciting to know because Armstead never lasts seasons and he doesn't last games. As far as he's not going to play every game the rest of the season. Having another guy that can step in and cover for Armstead without having to worry about it is awesome. Plus Tua and Tyreek got me $60 on Prize Picks. Nice. It's so awesome. And you know what though? We talk about Tua gets rid of the ball quick, and he normally does. But let's talk about that first touchdown, right? We saw how long it took for that one, even with it being Tyreek. That one took time to develop, and they kept that pocket clean as could be, man. Like clean as could be. Tua just had a nice pocket. He felt comfortable in there. He didn't feel nervous or jittery as it probably got a little longer and the play took a little bit longer to develop than maybe it was originally anticipated. So, like that line blocked well, and they definitely blocked well for the run. And I love what Miami is doing and what McDaniel's doing. And it does now. This run game now reminds me more of what the run game looked like when McDaniel was running it in San Fran in the Super Bowl, right? Like the way they're just doing, like getting the running back the ball, but getting the running back the ball in space, like right away. I don't know if you noticed how many times they would do that.
Yeah,
like that's just
very few traditional handoffs.
That's so much harder. But then they're still doing their share of we're going to run it between the tackles because you're showing this look or you're showing that look, trying to stop the other things we're doing. So we're gonna run a few up, between the tackles too. I mean, Mostert got his share, and we know A-Chain got his share between the tackles. I told you that guy could run between the tackles, man. I know he's a little small, but he's so quick. Like I forget, Harlan kind of described it in a different way, and I wish I could remember what Harlan said, but he just shoots out of a cannon the moment he gets that ball, like almost no other running back I've seen. It's not just his straightforward speed, his straight line speed. It's his quickness too. It really helps. And Duke pointing out that he even broke some tackles. Now that's not something I really would expect in the NFL. I would have thought that a guy at that size would get taken down with the first hit, but he even breaks tackles.
Again, this is
dangerous weapon.
He and Austin Eckler are kind of the same guy. He's not like A-Chain is a little shorter, but he's about the same bulk. And we see Eckler break tackles all the time. I'm not even a little bit surprised to see Devon A-Chain breaking tackles. It's all heck, Ron, Jakeem Grant used to break tackles, and he was the smallest dude I've ever seen in a football field. So it's all about sometimes speed, just how quick you are with your feet, how much power you run with. Because it doesn't matter. Like if you're running really, really fast, even if you're a small guy, if you try to bowl someone over, just your momentum alone is going to be able to get you some broken tackles. And yes, Darren Sproles. Yes, Devon A-Chain. Yeah. That's exactly what I was hoping he would become.
But way more explosive even. To me, way more dangerous.
In his prime, Sproles was especially really rushing. Dangerous.
Yeah, he was, but especially rushing. I think A-Chain is equally dangerous as a rusher as he is as a pass catcher out of the backfield and in the flat, etc. And they didn't even. There's so many different things they could do. Like they didn't even run one wheel route with those guys today. You know what I mean? You would think that you'd see some wheel routes and to see when you're throwing the ball to the backs that much, but they didn't even run one. Everything was just run in the flat, get him in space, let him juke a few people and take off. I mean, they were just doing that all day. And how about the especially the first one? They got 2 touchdowns off of it. But how about that first no look backwards kind of pass like that Tua did as he's heading back? Like teams are going to figure out how to stop that, I'm sure.
I'm sure I don't know how many times it's going to be a staple in their play.
Yeah, I don't know how many times, like maybe here and there. I don't think it's something you're going to be able to do every game all the time because teams are going to quickly recognize that they see A-Chain just kind of standing there doing nothing, not blocking, not running anywhere. I don't know if you watch it, A-Chain's just kind of standing there. You know what I mean? I understand that people's eyes, like you do play action, you realize, okay, the running back doesn't have the ball. And then your eyes go to the quarterback, but eventually someone's like, these guys are smart. They're going to quickly realize, wait a minute. Okay. Where's the running back? Oh no, there he is. Let me start running towards him now. But but it was a fun play, especially that first one, because it was so, obvious that he really, wasn't looking. It looked like something someone texted me. It looked like something Kansas City would do. Absolutely. That does absolutely look like a
very
playing Kansas
Mahomes
City would
play.
do. Yeah, that's a very Patrick Mahomes, Kansas City Chiefs looking play design. They don't all have to be 40, 50-yard bombs and 15-yard passes inside the hash marks. I think I saw something about man, it was like 85% of the Dolphins pass receptions came in between the hash marks, at least in the first half. That was a stat they said in the halftime show.
I'm I want to talk more about it, man. I really do, but it's like I'm almost out of things to say. Like I can praise. I could go into this thing and I could praise every single player that played today and say, this guy did a great job because he did this. This guy did a great job because he did this. This guy did a great job because he did this. Emmanuel Ogbah, he intercepted Russell Wilson.
Somebody just announced, and I know that was crazy. Cardinals are up 15-3 on the Cowboys right now.
My pastor was actually asking me before church. It's like, is this the day that the Cowboys go south? Are they actually going to do anything? I didn't even want to say anything because I'm like,
is he a Cowboys fan or something?
My pastor is a Cowboys fan. Yes,
okay,
that is
fair enough. But, so he keeps expecting them to just take a crap.
I sent him the Stephen A. Smith accident waiting to happen music video, and he thought it was funny because but I think it's because he knows it's true, and it's taking place right now against the tanking Arizona Cardinals.
Dave mentioned before, if this was Buffalo, do we do the field goal?
No, I absolutely do not believe that. I do not believe that even a little bit.
I don't believe that. I'm trying to think, is there a team that where McDaniel would have just gone ahead and done it, or a situation where he's like, you know what, we're going for it. Screw these guys. I mean, I don't know. No. You know what? If you're going against the coach of Colorado State, then you do it. Like if somebody talks some mad crap about you like that, like if let's say the coach you're about to play, let's say Sean Payton said, when I'm talking to my team, I'm not sitting there making a bunch of jokes and looking like a goofball and like an idiot in front of my team in the press. Like let's say he said something like that about McDaniel, that's when you go for it. That's when you say, screw you, I'm going for it. Actually, he probably throws the ball in the end zone 2 times before the field goal try. You know what I mean? So, I don't think there's a team that he does go for it in that situation. Raise your hand if you ever thought you'd be on a podcast talking about Miami should have kicked the field goal to score 73 points in this game.
Yeah, never.
Yeah, never.
Those are numbers that if I were playing my video game, I don't always hit those numbers.
Yeah, no, you don't see those. You don't see those numbers in Madden very often, even.
Like, well, if you're playing on like an actual,
honestly, 70 points is an absolute beatdown in college. Like 70-20 is like, Bama plays.
Even like, Oregon didn't get that many.
Bad example right now. Bama's a bad example. I don't know. Is there any real like potent NFL or like college offenses this year? Kind of feels like there's not, but like Michigan.
I mean, Colorado up until yesterday, they were going to look at them like that.
But you don't even see beatdowns like that in college. That's just so rare. 70 points, nuts.
So, just I'm looking through the list here. How many people can I actually highlight here? Just my God, man, so many people. And I guess we should point out. So there were a couple of injuries that we may have to keep an eye on. Jalen Phillips went out with an oblique strain or something with his oblique. I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah, and he kind of has the back thing he was nursing too.
Yes, that's correct. So we'll see if he comes back to play next week against Buffalo. And if not, the thing is, man, this is the scary thing. If not, then as much as I love Jalen Phillips, I honestly feel like
put in Gink, man. You put in Gink.
Andrew Van Ginkel.
Yeah, if you put in Gink, and that guy's quickly becoming one of my favorite players of the game. Isn't it Omar Kelly? Speaking of like Gink and Lamb and Chosen, and all this depth we have, and then Barrios and all that. Wasn't it Omar Kelly that said that this starting roster is really good, but it's paper thin? Yeah, I believe he said that at the beginning of the season.
I mean, it's paper thin. Maybe if you look at
far from paper thin, my friend.
It's far from paper thin because I'm sure scheming has a lot to do with it. Like in Adrian Van Ginkel's case, as an edge rusher, Ginkel, everybody knew.
Then that goes to McDaniel, right? And Vic Fangio. Him quickly becoming, and Fangio too. But as far as offense goes, and him quickly becoming perhaps the best offensive play caller in this league. And that's in a league that includes, Andy. So, I mean, I don't know. I'm not ready to say McDaniel's a better play caller. Just like you're not quite ready to say Tua is better than Mahomes, right? But I'm ready to feel like, Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes are the first number one QB coach combo. and number 2 is McDaniel and Tua. Like, I feel pretty good about that. Oh, by the way, the Dolphins are now the last undefeated team already in the AFC. No one else is undefeated because the Ravens were the only other one, and they lost to the Colts. So
I just want to quickly go down this schedule here, because we had our scheduled losses set on here, right? We had our teams where, we figure we're going to lose to this team or this team.
Yeah.
We have the Bills next week at 1:00 in Buffalo.
Oh, and if you don't mind, really quick, I see now part of why Buffalo destroyed them. Sam Howell threw 4 interceptions. I expected to see a really big line from Josh Allen. It looked more like it looked a bit more like Tua's last week, right? 20 of 32, 218 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. I don't know what his rushing stats were, but it wasn't as like a dominating effort from Allen, but then it didn't have to be. So
the way that I'm looking at it is like, you see Buffalo, and you can win that game in Buffalo. If they're anything even remotely like this offense, like they would have to. This is why
they can absolutely win that game in Buffalo.
But this is what I'm talking
100%.
about. Because like on the one hand, I'm trying to keep in mind that people keep saying, don't get your hopes up too high. You never know what's going to happen. But I keep looking at I'm looking at what my eyes are telling me, Ron.
Yeah, exactly.
What my eyes are telling me is that there is no defense on planet Earth that can completely shut down this Dolphins offense. Nobody.
Yeah, let's talk about, we're 3-0 this year. We're 3-0. We started 3-0 last year, right? But let's talk about it. Last year, week 1, I think we went to New England, I know we played the Patriots. I just can't remember whether it was in New England or in Miami, and we won. But it wasn't like the win last week where, yes, we only won by a touchdown, but the game was truly never in doubt. You know what I mean? Like it felt like one of those games that easily could have been more like a 2 touchdown type game. It just didn't end up that way, sort of thing. But last year it wasn't that way with the Patriots. And then week 2, we played the Bills in Miami. And man, yeah, we won. But Josh Allen threw like 500 yards on us, dude. It was like 400 something yards, and we barely won. And that he was crushing Buffalo. So yes, we got the win, but we didn't look like in week 2 like we did this time. And then week 3, we had the Baltimore game. Right. And that was the big comeback. But the first half was a crap show. And it took a big comeback, and our defense was struggling, and we couldn't stop Lamar from running to save our lives. Like, it was completely different. And then this game, week 3, we clearly look like the number 1 team in the NFL.
We look like a team that's had the same offense for the 2 years in a row. And
yeah, exactly. Like, we just look unreal. We just look unreal. So, yes, I understand it was 3-0 last year. It's 3-0 this year. But it does. So you said, what made me think of that is you said, look at what your eyes tell you. This is what my eyes are telling me, that this year's 3-0 team is way more for real than last year's 3-0 team. Way, way, way more.
And that's why I feel like if I go down this schedule, I'm looking at Dolphins at Bills. We can win that game. Will we win that game? I don't know. Josh Allen is still a threat.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I would easily be lulled into picking the Dolphins now in that game. Whereas during the preseason, and we were talking about what we're going to predict the schedule, I was like, okay, we'll lose to the Chargers. We'll probably lose to the Bills.
As you know, and people got on me for, I was extremely worried about that Chargers game. And I kept saying, hey, I love the Dolphins this year. I think they're going to be a great team. I think this, I think that, everything positive. But man, I said, I just wish this Chargers game wasn't week 1. I wish it just could be any other time but week 1. And then they went out and they really surprised me and how good they were offensively. And I knew then, I said, man, this offense is for real. Like, it's for real.
So you could easily be lulled into winning in Buffalo. I could easily find myself picking the Dolphins to win that game now, depending on who's available to play and who's not. The Giants coming to Miami, definitely something I'm going to say. That should be another beatdown. Not quite on Denver's level, obviously, but the Giants, that should be another beatdown for Miami. That should 100% be another beatdown.
Yeah, that should be a beatdown.
Same goes for the Panthers coming to Miami.
That should be an annihilation. Yeah, that should be an annihilation. Like, those games should be annihilations. Absolutely.
And then you come to the Eagles, and as much as I love Manny, but even then, I'm looking at the Eagles, I'm looking at the Dolphins right now. If I put them on paper, and I'm looking at it like Dolphins could beat the Eagles. Like Dolphins could easily beat the Eagles.
Dolphins can beat any team in the NFL. Like it doesn't mean they will go win every game. Of course, things happen, but the Dolphins can absolutely win any game. They're as good as any team in this league. Doesn't mean they end up in the Super Bowl because the games have to play out. The Dolphins are officially as good as any team in this league. They if you want to put them, some people are going to say the Dolphins are the number one, the best team in the NFL. Some people are going to say they're the third or fourth, right? And no one would really be wrong. Like, honestly, no one would be wrong. Like, even if I thought, I'll say I think the Dolphins are like the third best team in the league. That's my belief, right? I think
who's ahead of them?
I think the Chiefs and the Eagles are a little bit better than Miami. But if you say they're the best team in the league, man, it is really hard for me to argue that. To me, all those three teams are probably very close. And some of these teams are going to get it going. Like, I believe Cincinnati will get rolling. I think, Cowboys are struggling right as we're speaking, but it's early. They're a really, really good team, an amazing defense. So, Dolphins have an interesting schedule. They definitely have some teams they could roll over, but they have some tough games too, with Philly, the Cowboys, the Bills, and obviously the Chiefs.
And just so everybody knows, before we call it a show here, because I know we've been going for an hour, just wanted to briefly mention Mike McDaniel didn't have any updates on Jalen Phillips or Connor Williams, who, by the way, also went out. And Liam Eichenberg ended up snapping the rest of the game.
He had one kind of high snap, and then he had the penalty right after. But beyond that, he was okay.
He looked all right. He looked okay.
Yeah.
So
I'm amazed that they stayed with that Eichenberg. They kept him as the backup center.
I told you that orange jersey meant something.
Yeah,
I told you that orange jersey.
That was in OTAs though, and that's dumb because maybe in practices we couldn't see. But besides that OTA, right, or mini camp, I think it was actually officially mini camp. We want to be accurate, right? The entire training camp, to include the preseason, Eichenberg didn't take one snap at center, not a damn one, at least in any practice that anybody could watch. So maybe since the season started and that you're in the practices where the media isn't allowed to watch, he has since then. But I just thought that was kind of weird that you're calling this guy the backup center and he never took a snap at center, even in a preseason game or a training camp snap. Maybe an 11-on-11. So that's why I didn't think it was real, but clearly it was real.
Maybe that just goes to show you how bad Dan Feeney and Alama Olave were at center. Maybe okay, screw it. We're just going to go.
Olave got signed. Didn't the Patriots sign Olave?
No, he's on the Dolphins practice squad.
Oh, I thought they signed Olave for some reason.
No, Alama Olave is still hanging around. Let me just confirm that really quickly by scrolling down here. Practice squad. Yes, Alama Olave is out of San Diego State.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So, but Ryan Hayes he's back. So, hey.
He is back. He's the legend. The new legend. He's the new Trill Williams. He's the new Trill Williams. I mean, the guy who's never hardly taken a snap or haven't actually taken a snap, whoever Dolphins fans already have, is like Hall of Famer.
It's wild, man. Like, these guys that the Dolphins have available to them, like Verone McKinley's on the practice squad now.
Dude, Anderson's on the practice squad.
Chosen was on the practice squad. Yeah.
So, and that was a smart decision to do that. Like, it made sense there. And it's interesting that Mike White got to that was, by the way, that was a sick toss by Mike White. Perfect. I mean, he perfectly thrown ball.
He just heaved it up to the fastest guy on the field at the time.
And he was open, but it was a perfectly thrown ball. Like, he didn't under or overthrow it like an inch. So good job by Mike White. That's reassuring, right? You know what I mean? To see him go in there cold and hand off the ball up that takes some pretty good accuracy. So good. Yeah. That gives you, it gives you a good feeling, maybe a little bit. I'll
give him the credit for throwing the ball, man. But that doesn't tell me anything about Mike White. He threw one pass all the whole
two
time?
Passes. He was 2 for 2 for 80 yards or something and a touchdown, like perfect passer rating. I don't know. I don't know what that passer rating is.
2 passes, 67 yards and a touchdown. I mean, still though, man, it's like 2 passes. Like, if he had thrown more passes and they were actually like trying to throw the football and he did good, then I would feel a little bit better about it. But Mike White, jury's still out on him. Like, anybody can heave up one pass and look great. Tyler Heineke, for God's sakes, heaves up throws all the time, and people were starting to think he could be a starter because of it.
Yeah.
So, All right, that's going to be it for this post-game show, guys. It was so much fun watching this game. I was jumping up and down the whole time. Even my fiance, who has no interest in football whatsoever, like I was laughing and enjoying myself so much that she actually came out to watch the rest of the game with me because she just wanted to revel in the moment with me.
Yeah.
So that just goes to show how important it was that the Dolphins did what they did. They actually got my fiance to be interested in football for a brief moment in time.
It's interesting too. It's one of those rare times where it was one of those games where I really, 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 really wanted Miami to just stomp on their throat and just destroy them. And they did it. And they did it beyond my wildest dreams. Like I was happy when it was, I don't know, 49-13 or
I was happy when it was 50. I was happy when it was 60.
Yeah.
I was happy when it was 70.
Yeah. So like they did it beyond what I could ever imagine. So thank you, Miami, for doing that, because I was so mad at Peyton. I've hated that guy ever since he started talking crap about Tua, man. He just went out there, and the moment that guy became a broadcaster, started talking crap about our quarterback. Keep my quarterback name out your mouth. So I just happy that they did what we always hope that, right? We always hope, oh man, I hope they stomp this team, or I hope they stomp that team, or I hope they make a statement game, and then they actually do it. Like that's awesome. Doesn't happen too often to most fans of most teams. It doesn't happen too often.
My tweet said that if I would be disappointed if it wasn't a beatdown, because I expect the Dolphins to beat lesser teams.
Well, they did.
And they did. They did exactly what they were supposed to do.
Mission accomplished.
Have higher expectations. This is not Brian Flores Dolphins. This is not Adam Gase Dolphins. This is not Joe Philbin Dolphins. This is a Miami Dolphins team.
Cameron.
No, God, Cam. This is a Miami Dolphins team that we have not had a prolific offense like this since.
This is Mike McDaniel's Dolphins.
This is Mike McDaniel and Tua Tagovailoa's Dolphins, not even Dan Marino.
You guys, you know what? I'm just thinking about something. I'm 47 years old, so I've been watching Dolphins football since Marino's first year. And just seeing all that amazingness obviously with Shula as the head coach and Marino as the quarterback, and having some different groups of wide receivers in there since then. You guys are like kind of feeling what maybe Dolphins felt like when it was like 1984 or 85 in regards to the kind of the beginning of what looks like something epic to that's going to last for a while. So that's exciting. And now I get to live through two eras of it. Boy, we had to wait a long time to get to something like this, didn't we? Holy crap.
All right. So we're going to go ahead and call it here. Thank you all so much for listening. By the way, for anybody who hasn't done so yet, make sure you go to prizepicks.com. Use that promo code 5. That's FIVE. They will match up to $100 on your deposit when you sign up. And once again, I am going to go ahead and say again, if you want to get some free money, just pick the over on Tua and Tyreek every single time. I guarantee you they will probably beat whatever. If Tyreek Hill's number for receiving yards on Prize Picks, Ron, was 90 yards.
Yeah.
They are basically saying, they are basically expecting at this point that Tyreek Hill will go for at least 100 yards every single game.
It's pretty much. Yeah, it'll be over 100 for the next one. I don't know what the Bills' pass defense looks like. I haven't gotten into numbers yet, but
it's insane.
Yeah. I think you'll see Tyreek Hill at over 100 yards in Prize Picks
sometime this
week,
season,
like 101 or something. Yeah.
All right, that's it for this show. Thank you all so much for listening. Fins Nation will be recorded. Will be ready for you tomorrow morning at 5 a.m. Pulse of Fins Nation on Tuesday. Another Fins Nation Wednesday. Behind Enemy Lines on Friday. We got so much Dolphins content, guys, and it's only going to get better from here. I truly believe that. This is the year. This is the year they're pushing for the Super Bowl. I truly believe it. And if they manage to pull it off, Ron, oh my God, I don't know what I'll do with myself.
Yeah, me neither. Because even at 47 years old, I have never experienced the Dolphins winning the Super Bowl. Seen them get into one in a couple AFC championship
with an offense of this caliber.
Well, I mean, honestly, like this is a higher caliber offense, even than the Marino years a little bit. But yeah, with a super high octane offense. Correct.
So we'll see what happens.
All right.
Buffalo's next. All right, folks. See you all next week for another final yard and more Dolphins content coming to you from the 5 Reasons Sports Network. Good night.